and that was interesting.
My heart falling off.
Yeah. Welcome to the Kind of Sleepy Podcast. I'm your host, Knowledge, along with my co-host.
Hey, this your boy Natty, Mr. A.K.A. Bad Tattoo Dreadlock, owner, operator of Slaughterhouse Tattoos, Mr. Helping You Look Better Naked. Hey, you can find me on Instagram as Tenaro Reed. You can find me on Facebook as Tenaro Reed. Because guess what? I ain't hiding from nobody.
That's very interesting introduction.
Hey, I'm an interesting individual.
Clearly.
I'm hiding from a lot of people. Sally Mae is looking for me. Erwin R. Shyster, a.k.a. the IRS. But we're not going to talk about that.
I'm telling you.
Got more than enough people looking for me. Luckily, child support is not looking for me. So, yes, I'm winning in that respect. Anyway, we have a special guest in the studio with us today. Why don't you go and tell us a little about yourself? Tell us people who you are.
Just the person buzzing every 5 seconds. So my name's Alicia. I'm a therapist here in Charlotte.
You have your own podcast, right?
Long walks on the beach. I have a cute dog. I do. I co-host a mental health podcast called Two Elephants in the Room. It's a podcast that's co-hosted by me, two Deltas who are also therapists. And then I own my own private practice and teach part-time.
So I can't get a oop. Not one oop, just a single oop. Can I get?
Nope.
Can I get the founder step?
No.
So, dang, man, I was trying to, get a little stomp the yard action going on in here, man.
This is not Stump the Yard.
We was finna get down. We was finna have a whole probate in here. That was a long time ago for me, though. I feel old. All right. So today's topic, actually, as I think I put it on Facebook, and I'll tell you guys up front, is going to be Black folks in mental health, aka Jesus is not your therapist. So we're going to touch on that close to the end, but let's get into some of this good news first, man. Swiss Beats is 3 weeks away from a degree at Harvard, and that's amazing to me, man. That's absolutely amazing to me. I mean, that guy has been doing it for a long time. He's got classics under his belt. Earlier, I referred to him as Alicia Keys' husband and was promptly corrected.
Yeah,
but,
that's a grown man.
Yeah, that's a grown ace, man.
I know that's right.
But he doing his thing.
Don't put him up under the shadow of nobody. That man been doing his thug.
I mean, that man may bring him out.
Come on, man.
You can't beat that.
He made, the Rough Riders, period.
Yeah, he was the Rough Riders' whole, foundation.
I was listening
that sound.
I was listening to DMX on the way over here getting hyped for the podcast.
Okay, I'm trying
DMX? Where are you from?
Originally, Alaska. Yeah, you ain't never met a black Alaskan.
He is a Negro Eskimo. Just want y'all to know that. He is a Negro Eskimo. He is
military family?
No, I'm originally from Lancaster, South Carolina.
Oh.
And that's how you know he originally from there, because he said Lancaster. He didn't say Lancaster like everybody else. It's Lancaster.
Oh, I didn't. I thought that was somewhere that I didn't know.
Oh,
Lancaster.
No.
Okay.
No, it's 35 minutes.
No, it's Lancaster. It ain't Lancaster. It's Lancaster.
See, Lancaster, that's Pennsylvania. Lancaster,
that's
South Carolina.
So
that's right.
Shout out to Swiss Beats for that. On the other end of the intelligence spectrum, we got B.O.B. What? Cocaine's a hell of a drug. And I don't know if that's what he owned, but he's somehow come up with the idea that slave ships, I guess, kind of just didn't exist.
I mean, has he ever been to the Smithsonian?
I would imagine not at this point. I think it's a fairly safe guess to say no.
I mean, it'll get to a point to where, intellect becomes, it gets to a point where it becomes, you just sound dumb. It's nothing else to say.
After hearing that, he was like, they ain't never been reconstructed or nothing. I don't even want to be woke no more after that. We call it kind of sleepy because, we definitely woke on the podcast, but, things like that make me really just want to go to sleep and not get back up for a while, because that's too woke, bro.
So you mean to tell me a whole race of people, we just teleported over here, right?
Yeah,
we just teleported over here.
No, we swam.
Oh.
And that's why black people can't swim today.
Can't swim today.
Because we got so tired from back in the 1619, we swam to Jamestown. We had enough swimming for a lifetime or two.
Who wouldn't want to acknowledge, at the end of the day, once you acknowledge your own plight, that shows your own strength. And for him to say and to downplay something of that magnitude, man, it's just, it's just a sign of an idiot. I'm not going to call B.O.B. an idiot, but that statement was just totally, it's totally
that was totally ridiculous. Yeah. I really hope he was joking. I don't think he was, though.
Maybe he just wanted the media buzz.
Does he have an album coming out soon?
Things people do
That's the
for
rollout.
fame.
Was that the rollout for the album? What they gonna call it?
I mean, just get shot.
If we,
Just get shot. I mean, for
you
real,
know,
man, just-
rappers in hospitals get better publicity. So yeah,
You know
I
what
mean,
I mean?
we could pretend that slave ships in the night sky like shooting stars. I could really use a boat right now. Anyway, let's move on to another person who we hadn't quite uninvited B.O.B. from the cookout yet, but the person that is uninvited from the cookout is Chrisette Michele. She went on the Breakfast Club last week and apologized and everything, and that's all well and good. But at the same time, I really think that you're apologizing because you got dropped from your label and you caught all that backlash from your fans. I will never buy another Chrisette Michele album, go to another concert. And then after she put on Facebook, because what it was is that when she did it, she was so arrogant about it. And then she got on Instagram recently talking about, well, y'all, I had a miscarriage because of this, that, and the third, yada, yada. Okay, I feel really bad for her having a miscarriage.
Right.
I think that's tragic.
Right.
But then, she said that y'all was stressing me out about, the thing to Trump. And then immediately after that, she puts up a picture of Tina Campbell and said, this woman is a picture of strength. And sis, I understand your message. So that means you got uninvited to the cookout. And so you go and find the other damsel in distress who got uninvited from the cookout as well and probably excommunicated from her church at the same time. And so I think y'all should do it two together. We're going to call it Clueless. Stacey Dash can be the host. I'm just saying. It sounds perfect to me. That's just ridiculous.
And Raven Simone, the MC.
Absolutely. Stacey Dash, Raven Simone, Tina Campbell, and Chrisette Michele are all uninvited from the cookout. And Ray Lewis can take his kneeling ass on too. They can all have their own separate cookout, probably in Martha's Vineyard in the unseasoned section. That's just how I feel.
But man, I mean, I heard the apology, and at the end of the day, and I heard what she had to say as far as her performing at Trump's inauguration. And I get it. Mm-hmm. As an artist, you know what I mean? When she put a lot of her heart into her work and she put a lot of her spirit into her work, she put a lot of feeling into her work. She's not actually thinking about, okay, this individual, this situation. She's thinking about the message that she has to give and people in so much distress and people up in arms. So she's like, well, maybe what I have to say and whatever I have to deliver in my gift can go ahead. Yeah, it can be received and help people, to alleviate a little bit of stress. I feel her on that.
Okay.
So, and a lot of times people want you to be apologetic for who you are.
But see, the thing is, nobody asked her to apologize for who she was. We wanted her to apologize for what she did and just not do it. People offered to pay her. People offered to pay her not to be there. Let me ask you a question.
Who are these people?
Questlove.
Like the drummer from The Roots.
Yes.
He can't pay nobody to braid his
Bruh,
hair down.
don't-
I'm just
Don't get
tripping.
twisted.
Hey, Quest got that bread.
He got the guap, but it was a lot of people
guapped up.
came together and offered to pay her not to do it. But let me ask you a question, because you said something powerful there. You said
Right.
as an artist, you think a lot of times about, what you have to give to the world and how you think about it. So let me ask you a question. If the Klan had a tattoo function, a tattoo party tomorrow, and wanted to pay you to be the tattoo artist at a Klan tattoo party,
Right.
would you do it?
Yeah, I do it as long as everybody getting Black Panther tattoos.
You can't say yeah and then have a qualifier. It doesn't really work that way.
I mean, as long as everybody in the Klan is getting a Black Panther tattoo or either a Black Fist tattoo, yeah, I do it because my message and my art is Black unity, regardless of who employs me. And I have to convey what I
get
do.
what you're saying.
So if they don't,
but see, the thing is, that's not the stipulation. She was going to celebrate the inauguration.
oh well, nah, I can't vibe like that.
I
You know what I mean?
But see, that's what we saying.
But at the same time, she knew a lot of people was at arms with Trump being president, with him being elected. She knew a lot of people was at arms, so she was thinking like, well, maybe with them seeing me, knowing my message, and I can help permeate a little bit of joy into this situation.
Them the most miserable, cantankerous people I've ever seen in my life. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Sad situation here. We was just talking about this before we started the podcast today. Meek Mill violated his probation. Meek, hold your head, man.
Yeah, stay up.
Got sentenced to 2 to 4 years for a probation violation because he got two charges. He got arrested twice. Both charges were dropped. One was completely avoidable. That was when he was, popping wheelies in New York.
Like, why? I know people feel bad for him, but like, my man, this is not your first time.
He was definitely throwing rocks at the penitentiary. With that. Okay, but Natty, you gotta understand, you a celebrity. You and this judge already done had some issues.
Yeah, then they had words back and
You
forth.
know,
Him, the judge, the DA, and all that.
Don't give her a reason at that point. Now you
Right.
know. Now we both ride. And you know, I might want to cut up a little bit on the freeway sometime. But then again, I'm not a celebrity.
True.
Right.
And you ain't on probation.
And
Exactly.
I am not on probation by the grace of God. So
And I dig it. Though. I mean, especially, you know what I mean, like you say, when it's completely avoidable, I mean, let's be mindful of the situation. Let's go ahead and chill, you know, because that's like you have that choice. Okay, you're going out tonight. You know, you've been turning up at the crib. Now you have the choice to either go ahead and risk a DUI or get an Uber. It's simple.
I'm gonna get me an Uber.
Of course. I mean, that's a rational mind.
Then
but,
again,
you know,
I live in Rock Hill, so I might not get an Uber.
You might just need to hang out there.
Yeah, man, I feel bad for
I might
me,
just need to get a
though.
bicycle or something. And just, you know, you can get a DUI for riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
You can get a DUI for actually riding a pig in Alabama.
Oh,
Don't
man.
ask how I know that. Speaking of the, let's going back to the criminal justice system. On the other end of the range, we got Nicki Minaj's brother, who, in my opinion, was rightfully convicted for child molestation. I listened to some of the testimony in that trial, and I have this belief. It's kind of a hot take, really not. I really firmly believe this. Child molesters and rapists should go to jail, and they should have done to them what they did to somebody else, number one. And number two, they should also be sentenced to death. I just firmly believe that child molesters and rapists should be sentenced to death, because that's something you take from somebody that affects them for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And I mean, it's just I can't think of any other way to see that.
And, you know, and even with that, even with the prison system, I mean, you know, anybody that has been in the prison system, I mean, like myself, you have like a code of ethics. And at the end of the day, child molesters, rapists, or anybody that do anything to their parents, they're kind of on the low end of the totem pole. So it's almost a guarantee that what he did to that child, he's going to get done to him.
Yeah,
that's a guarantee.
I could pretty much see
and you know, and it's just and it goes into our other topic of, you know what I mean, the mental mind state of an individual who even look at a child or a juvenile or anybody, you know what I mean, that looks to them as you know what I mean, as somebody,
as a sexual object.
You know, how could
it's
you do that?
Desire.
Yeah, how could
and you know, looking at Nicki Minaj's brother, I mean, he's softer than baby thighs, so I'm pretty sure some bad man is going to hurt him as soon as he walks in behind that wall. So I'm not shedding not nan tear for him.
No, of course not.
I just have two thoughts. One, like I told you last time, hurt people hurt people.
True.
So oftentimes when
it's a cycle.
It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle that we're trying to address, but it's just so large. And then to what you said, and this is just a rhetorical question, like, can we really squash our desires, right? So I heard you say, hey, this person is attracted to this. So people are attracted to what they're attracted to. The reason why, and he is wrong, and I'm not saying he's not wrong, but the reason why he is being, hung
castrated
is because society has deemed that to be wrong. So then the question comes to, because I used to work with sex offenders who were HIV positive when I lived in Brooklyn. So then the question comes to, when they do go to treatment, can I fix somebody's internal desires? Or can I modify their behaviors? Because we're talking about two different things.
Right. I mean, modified behavior. I mean, that can possibly be achieved. But, you know, that's like saying, for instance, you like bacon. I can tell you, look, pork is bad for you. You shouldn't eat pork. Don't eat pork.
Hey,
pork does this, pork does that.
Bacon is Jesus' way of hugging your tongue, okay? That's just how I feel.
I don't eat meat, so
right,
I disagree.
You know, but you feel what I'm saying. If you have that desire, you know, you just have that desire for bacon, somebody can tell you everything that's wrong about it.
Right.
But it doesn't. Now, you might change because you know what you say, it is unhealthy. My blood pressure is high.
Or
but
if you want to please that person, then you may not eat bacon. So if your partner says, don't eat bacon anymore, you may stop, right?
The behavior would change.
But that doesn't change the desire.
Like every time you ride past Wendy's and you smell a junior bacon cheeseburger, your nipples get hard.
I don't know about
Man, I'm going to tell you like this. Any woman that tells me I can't have bacon Ain't the one for me.
The bacon?
That's not my
The
rib.
bacon got you like that?
That is not my rib.
Oh, man.
That is not my rib. She is not my queen. I'm just saying.
Listen, I don't try to influence people's diet. I just
we can work out together. We can run. We can drink smoothies. We can do all that. But I'm not giving up swine. I'm sorry. I don't eat it that often. I actually eat turkey bacon in the mornings. I don't eat it often. But if you telling me I got to give up swine for good,
the bacon? And you gonna dump
Did
your
you watch
queen
What the Health?
for the bacon?
I refuse to watch What the Health because of that.
I mean,
I'm not giving up bacon, bro.
I mean, it was a lot of good information on What the Health, but a lot of it was propaganda.
The Lord knows my heart, and if the Lord sends me a rib, He gonna make sure that she like pork ribs. All right, He gonna make sure she like spare ribs.
We gonna eat ribs together.
We gonna eat ribs together, and that's my rib.
Baby back ribs.
Yeah, baby back. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, we gonna have them together. All right, that's what my queen like ribs.
I dig it.
Anyway, so we was talking about Nicki Minaj's sick brother. Let's also go to Kevin Spacey. Apparently, it's open season in Hollywood on sexual predators. People are getting. I've always said that I don't care how long ago it was, because it takes some people that long to get up the courage to confront their accuser or to speak out about. To confront their abuser and confront what actually happened to them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kevin Spacey was accused of sexually molesting somebody 30 years ago. And now Charlie Sheen has been hit with allegations of him raping Corey Haim, who was one of the kids that was, really popping back in the early 90s. They were in a movie together, and apparently he sodomized Corey Haim, and they had another sexual encounter when he got older. Corey Feldman, who kind of pretty much...
Yeah, they came up right in the same time in the movies. Yeah,
Corey Feldman kind of confirmed it. It's a lot of stuff going on in Hollywood that you see. I mean, now I've always been kind of like conspiracy theories are like wild, but they've talked about. I mean, this is something that's been going on for a while, where they've said that there's this secret underground cult of child molestation that goes on in Hollywood, and I guess I'm starting to believe this. I guess this is something that's starting to gain some traction because there's some truth coming along with that.
I don't do conspiracy theories.
I really don't.
But I think so we're living in an age now where there's so much access. So part of it is like, hey, this person is out. This person is famous and rich, and this is the time for me to, get my due justice. But then there are also just people out there that are not well, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like my grandma always says, she's like, I don't know why people getting so caught up in the police shooting us. Like, they've been shooting us for years.
Right.
But the only thing that's happening now is every time we get, like, you guys are live recording what we're doing now. Like, every time, everything is in real time.
Right.
And that's really the biggest difference. Like, I don't think anything new is happening in the world. I just think that we have the access to
the information more now.
But the other thing that's happening that I don't like is that with us having so much access, more and more people are getting tried and crucified, in public opinion. And then we see an increasing amount of cyberbullying and people trying to harm themselves because of what people are saying, like, on the internet. So it's kind of it's
a catch-22.
It is.
Okay.
Like, we can. And so you just heard that, like, you ain't read no court report. You haven't seen, right?
I've seen there's not a documentary, but there's a series of articles out there about the predatory nature of child relationships in Hollywood. And there's a certain amount of hedonism that we all assume goes on within that world, and it would not surprise me. I have to go back and get more detail, but there's an entire series. I don't know if there's a documentary, but there's an entire series of media reports about just the whole child sex thing in Hollywood.
And I mean, but bad things are happening everywhere. Like, I moved here from Los Angeles, and there's some counties outside of Charlotte that has the largest sex trafficking rings, like, on the East Coast. And we're in North Carolina. We're in the Bible Belt, so that shouldn't be happening here.
Well, I thought that I knew that at one point I'd read a couple of things that said Atlanta was a major hub for child sex trafficking and just sex trafficking in general. And I don't think that sex trafficking is new. I think that what we called pimping back in the day was, in effect, less sophisticated sex trafficking, a less sophisticated form of it. It's just that went global now because we have more access and more more mobility, rather.
Access. And honestly, too, like people just not knowing. I also meet a lot of people that don't know what it means for somebody to be crossing their boundaries. It's like some people get manipulated and they don't know, right? There was a situation. I was working with this sex ed health educator. She had a 13-year-old pregnant girl in her class, and the girl said, "Can you tell me what my cervix is?" Wow. And she's pregnant.
Wow.
Right? So we have to think about, too, like, where does the education come in? Like, what, for our part, like, how many conversations are we having with people so they'll know this is a boundary that you need to create? Like, people do not need to touch you here. They should not, you know what I mean? So some of it, too, is just a lack of, like, education.
Education, yeah.
Right. Like, even with me, it's like, even with my kids. And you know how everybody love to kiss kids and everybody I don't play that shit. I don't play that shit. I
don't kiss my babies.
Do not put your lips on nowhere near my baby's cheeks.
I don't know where your mouth been.
None of that, man. Because I don't want her to get acclimated or to get
people,
to a point.
Random people kissing her.
So when somebody say "give me sugar," the first thing she do is poke her lips up.
Yeah.
No.
But that's a really good point.
And that's where it starts at. I mean, knowing your boundaries start with potty training.
Exactly.
With potty training, because I'm gonna tell you, like with a friend of mine. She used to tell, because kids don't understand the whole genitalia terms.
They're just curious, naturally.
So he like, a friend of mine, her son, he like hammers and nails. So she was like, okay, this is your hammer, these are your nails. So if anybody touch you on your hammers and nails, you need to let mama know. So, and that's how he could let her know, I mean, at an early age.
In their own language.
Right, and he doesn't feel like, okay, he's been put into a situation, but she know what the situation may be.
Right. But I like what you said. My co-host would like. She's very big on children knowing about space and boundaries.
Right.
And you made a good point. Like, she used the example for church. Like, when a kid is young and they go to church and you make them hug everybody. So what you're teaching the kid is they don't have the right to say, I don't want to be touched or hugged today. Right?
I ain't never like that shit.
My grandma was like that with me.
We
didn't have to hug everybody, but she taught us how to, like, properly speak to adults. You know what I mean? Like, basic. This is how you talk to an adult. Right. You still have to respect them, even though they're not me. But that was very big for her.
We got that love thy neighbor shit twisted. I'm sorry. I still don't like that. I do not like going to church where the preacher asks you all the time, touch your neighbor. I don't want to. Don't touch me.
Nah.
I don't know you. I love you in Christ, but I don't know you, bruh. Don't touch me.
Number one, I know you on Saturday.
Quietly.
You know
I know you on Saturday. Yeah.
So, and that's absolutely right, though. We do have to teach our kids boundaries so that way they don't grow up thinking or accepting something that has been, already pre-notioned in their minds.
Exactly.
Right. And see, this hits me personally because this is something that me and I'll go on and admit it. I've been to therapy. And this is something that me and my therapist had to work on because one thing that I did was self-destruct certain relationships because I didn't understand the concept of boundaries in certain interpersonal relationships. Like, I would have a girlfriend and, like, a young lady would walk up and hug me, like, hey, how you doing? We sitting there talking, and I'm being naturally, how I am. And my girlfriend's sitting there like,
are you going to introduce me?
Do you see me? Right. Like, are you just going to be all affectionate and stuff?
Oh, so you just by yourself, huh?
What? That's just my friend.
Right.
Oh, so that's how you talk to your friends? You used to be my friend.
And that's why she said that's how you talk to your friend.
And that's how I ended up single. And so, yeah, that's why I'm lonely now. But, that's how I ended up single. But that's a whole other story. But no, boundaries are something that, definitely want to instill in our kids and just in general I like to have talks with my friends in general about boundaries because that's been an exercise for me. My son's mother, she gave me a book called Boundaries and it was about setting boundaries and stuff like that. And so that's been a thing that, we both tried to work on because it's not that we're boundary-less, it's that we need to define them better. And kids that don't grow up with boundaries become adults who either don't have them or they have such blurry boundaries that they don't know they're given to certain flights of fancy.
And that's what you don't want. So a person that doesn't understand boundaries is the same person that doesn't understand violation, right? The same person that doesn't have any remorse. So when we don't teach a person that everybody has a line that we're supposed to respect, they grow up feeling like, I can do what I want. I can say what I want.
It's entitlement on steroids.
Yeah, and we already live in a society where, the police are not always, so cross paths with a person who doesn't know boundaries and a person that's on the police force that hasn't been taught about dealing with working with different people, right? And think about like how they really clash, feeling like, hey, I can just say and do whatever.
I mean, it's going to be a perfect storm storm for disaster. And at the end of the day, like you said before, if everybody was taught to understand that, okay, this person may be different from you, or this person's boundaries may be different from yours, we would walk accordingly, and everybody would have a more respect for what a person's boundaries were.
Exactly.
I told a friend of mine, shout out to her, I said that children that don't understand boundaries become adults who don't understand consequences. And so the thing is, you want to know how I learned boundaries as a kid? And Dr. Stacey Patton, she's an amazing journalist, amazing person. She has this thing about, not whipping the kids because there's a psychological aspect to it. And one thing about it is that it does harken back to slavery times and things of that nature. But I learned boundaries not from getting whoopings from my parents, because I did get whoopings from my parents, but the possibility of catching the ass whooping in the street. Like, that's how I had to learn certain boundaries. See, what you saying over there?
Nothing, man. No, some ass.
It was my peers. It was my peers sometimes that taught me certain boundaries, because one thing about me, anybody that knows me knows I ain't never been afraid to fight. Like, I've always had a Napoleon complex. I've always been the dude that, I'm little, but I'm a cannonball. I'm coming straight at you. But the thing is, sometimes, you really don't want to be in certain confrontations, and it's certain confrontations that you should avoid and need to avoid. And so my peers ended up teaching me certain boundaries like that, but I don't want that for my children. Well, and you know what? And this goes back to, you mentioned bullying earlier. So me being bullied taught me boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's a damn shame.
It's
like,
not.
Now me, here's my philosophy.
Wins the losses.
And that's why Meek losing now. Because I feel like Meek was bullied his whole life. And he got bullied by Drake. He got bodied by a singing nigga. Anyway. But no, like, okay, so like being the small dude, and I know you can kind of relate to this. Like, the thing is, we got picked on. So you had to learn. It was two things you had to learn how to do. You had to defend yourself with your words, and you had to defend yourself with your fists. You come cracking on me, by the time we finish, you going to want to fight me or be my friend.
Yeah, because I'm going to go ahead and snap on you. But I'm going to tell you, man, at the end of the day, it's like your peers basically mold you. You feel what I'm saying? Your peers basically mold you. Yeah, and, because that's who you're around most of the time. Because you hide certain things from mom. You hide certain things from dad. But you tell your homeboy everything. You tell your girlfriend everything. And me, and I'm going to tell you what I learned. You know what I mean? This was a situation when I was incarcerated, and it taught me boundaries. Because at that time, I was 24, 25 years old. Not to say that I didn't know better, but I didn't know better. But he showed me individual. I kept picking at the individual. The individual say, hey, let it go, leave me alone. Now with me thinking he's saying let it go, leave him alone, I'm thinking it's showing a sign of, you know what I mean?
Weakness,
he cowering out. But I kept picking. He said, shout it.
You poked the bell.
Let it go. Leave it alone. So I told him to strap his boots up. Hey, we finna go ahead and throw these. Hey, we finna come from the shoulder. We finna throw these knuckles. And I'm going to tell you, it started out good for me. You
always know the story takes a turn when a nigga take a deep breath.
Yeah. I had a physical flashback in my head.
Well, you have to compose yourself. Right. The story's about to take a turn.
It started out good for me. Because a lot of people that know me, they know, you know what I mean? I've been boxing, physically active since a kid. So I shot my best 1-2 with a 3 on the back end. 5-5. He ate it. He ate it.
It's a wrap.
And when y'all know what it means when somebody say he ate it, he was like,
That's it?
Right. He say, damn, shawty, you got some fight in you. but you getting beat up today. That's what he told me, face to face. He said, you got some fight in you, but you're getting beat up today. And did I get beat up? Like a motherfucker. I'm talking whoop me bad. But I learned when somebody says go ahead, they're not afraid of you. They're afraid of the level that you're about to push you to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I learned that. So, boundaries, you never get too late to get taught those.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
But I like what you said, too. The other thing that we try to talk to parents a lot about, everybody is going to argue. Like, it's not a bad thing to argue, but are we teaching them how to argue in a healthy way? Like, are we teaching how to resolve conflict or is everything about fighting?
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is coming from a former fighter. Like, I grew up fighting, but it's like it comes to a point where it's like, no, there are other ways to resolve this conflict. And are we showing them that? Like, are we showing them that it doesn't have to always end in blows?
I'm sorry. Let me stop you right there. I cannot picture you fighting. You on this whole
That's
namaste.
because you know my namaste side.
You got your namaste. You got your chi.
You don't know
and
my old.
Your chi and your chakras and shit is aligned. Like, I feel like, I'm glad you showed up on time because you give me this Lauryn Hill feel sometimes, because her chi got to align with her chakras.
Come on, man.
And her namaste and her peace.
Gotta burn some sage.
You know what I'm saying? You give me this whole peaceful vibe. Like, I cannot picture you throwing them hands though. Like,
ask anybody from like Tennessee that know the old me.
Look, she said she's been in Tennessee. Girl. She said she's been in Tennessee, L.A., and now she's
New York,
and she was
South
in
Africa.
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you look at her pocketbook right now. She got spears, pistols, brass knuckles.
She got some poison darts. Catch your ass. She got it all. I ain't mad at you. And since you come from, your family has a military background, I'm pretty sure you can shoot.
Oh yeah, I'm actually really good.
She said that with such confidence. She was like, "Oh yeah,
I know what branch."
Mm-hmm. Army. My stepdad's still active. My mom's retired.
Okay, that's what's up.
She said it like
Marine Corps in the building though. USMC. Uncle Sam's misguided children.
She said.
That's true.
I got a lot of friends that's jarheads.
I respect them though.
Yeah. She said, I said, so you can shoot. She was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We go it's like a family. Like me and my aunt will go, or me and my mom will go.
Can I go to one of y'all family albums? Because I like to shoot a lot. Like I'm a gun person. Like I'm building let me not say that because the feds might be listening.
You got this thing on live talking about what you
building.
That's why look, man. Look. I'll tell you where they buried after the show. Anyway, so let's move to the next stuff. Future and Young Thug put out some music last week. It was actually really, really good.
Yeah, I rock with it.
It was hot. Offset and 21 Savage, produced by Metro Boomin. Man, they put out that's a banger. That's a banger. You disappointed?
I mean, it's just not natty type of music.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though.
because 21 put me to sleep.
His voice is monotone.
I've been sitting there around there watching, and I tell you,
they all sound the same. All the new,
my favorite line that 21 ever said was, "Your wife is saying I'm looking like a whole snack." I heard that. I was like, I'm using it. Right. Like, immediately.
Yeah,
that's quotable.
Because he's the size of a Slim Jim. Skinny ass boy.
That boy so skinny his nipples touch. Anyway, let's keep moving. Chris Brown's album. Right. Chris Brown put out an album with 96 songs on it. I still hadn't got through it. Have you gotten through it yet?
No, I haven't even started. 45 tracks.
Are you sure it's 45? I thought it was 96.
45.
Now, this is what I said, though. So when you put out an album, you make a lot more songs than actually makes it to the album. Right. So if the album has 45 on it, that means Chris Brown made about 90 to 135 songs. Do you want me to believe Chris Brown is not on cocaine, though?
I date an artist. He's not on cocaine. He makes mad music.
Does he make 135 songs at a time?
I don't know about that.
I used to be a rapper. Pop the Molly, I'm sweating. Woo! I used to be a rapper. It would take me all night to write 4 songs because I thought I was most deaf. I'm telling you. I'd be like, this boy got to be hard. Right
that boy. I mean, for real.
I'd have like 57 jobs. Though.
I mean, I'm not a big R&B fan, but
he put out
an album with 45 songs.
And that's some grown man music though, too. Though it's
gonna be a lot of people losing weight. Because I know he got at least about 20 dance songs on here. Niggas gonna be out this. This gonna be ribs showing, cheekbones poking,
sweating to the oldest. What's the name of the album? I don't even remember the name of the album. It's
All Night Long.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, All Night Long.
All Night Long.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be playing.
That's how it's gonna be playing.
It's not.
All Night
It's
Long.
called Heartbreak on a Full Moon.
Okay, because it's on my Apple Music, but I ain't pay my subscription because I changed debit cards and they keep sending me emails. So that's why I ain't finished the album. Don't judge me. That was the most judgmental face I've ever seen in my life.
Heartbreak on a Full Moon.
Mm-hmm.
That
He
sound
got
like
Gucci on the album.
I know
Janae,
he do.
Future, Ty Dolla $ign.
Oh, it might be, but it might be banging though.
This is a side note. Before we get to the next thing, side note. People say I'm crazy, but Gucci really is relationship goals to me.
You should have your own relationship goals, but keep going.
And I'm gonna tell you. Yo,
we all do love Flair.
I'm just trying to tell you, like, the whole room went dark in that shade. Like, like, she just clapped at me so hard right there. It's cool. Get up off the ground. Get your ass up off the ground. But no, I'm going to tell you why Gucci is relationship goals to me. Oh, my God.
Give it to us.
Because I've always said that some men require the love and compassion and caring of a woman who is solid and is there for them to reach their full potential. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that women should have to put up with the stuff that Keisha K.R. put up with, but it's obvious the impact that she had on his life. And, you know, I feel like at some point I could reach my full potential.
What did she put up with? My partner has his autobiography, but I didn't read it.
I read, man, it's actually pretty good. It's well written. Whoever helped him write it it's authentically his voice, but you know somebody helped him write it.
What did she put up with?
Cheating, him going to jail, his drug addiction, all that. You know.
Listen, Gucci done came a long way.
Gucci done came a long way from Bessemer, Alabama. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of Guwap. You know, and so I love seeing that kind of growth. And so that's the reason I say that relationship goes is because we saw where he came from,
right,
and we see where he is, and we see the power, that transformative power. And I'm rough around the edges myself.
Right. But I will say it is a testament to us not giving up. So we feel like every time something bad happens, we should just move on to the next thing. So it is a true testament of, hey, you can work through things. Like you don't have to just.
But you have to be moving forward. Yeah. Don't be stuck with somebody who's always taking you backwards.
And you know, and it's
what's the little meme say? Don't hold on to a situation. Don't hold on to a mistake just because you took a long time making it. Yeah, y'all got to stop holding on to these multiple year-long mistakes. And I might because I own a T-shirt company.
You do?
I do everything. I'm partly Jamaican. If you hadn't noticed, I'd have had every job that you can name except for therapist. And you know what? If my friends call me with their problems one more time, I'm gonna start charging them by the hour. Just saying.
That was about right.
So speaking of craziness and people that need therapy, you hate the word crazy.
Out of your
you take the word crazy. You hate the word crazy. We talked about that. Tyrese. No, wait. Let's not go there yet. Let's go to this guy in Texas. First of all, my thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims of that mass shooting in Texas.
Yeah, peace and blessings.
That dude. He was.
According to y'all's president, he said it was mental health.
Yeah, he said it was a mental health issue.
Mm-hmm.
But let's bring it back a little bit closer to where we can relate to, because you know the only time that people can shoot somebody or be in trouble and, you know, be called a mental health situation is when they are of a certain complexion. Let's come back to Tyrese's situation. Now, Tyrese has had a couple of meltdowns on social media.
I was trying to look them up after you told me about it.
He has this one video where he's crying and looking at his shoes without shoelaces in it. He has a video where he's crying, talking about "Give me my baby" or "I miss my baby." Right. He said that Will and Jada gave him $5 million to stay off social media, and then that came out that was a lie. So, but he blasted that on social media. He's been beefing with The Rock. Tyrese is going through something, and I really feel like he needs to talk to somebody. Tyrese has
not the internet.
That's not his social media followers. Yeah. He needs to talk to somebody who has his best interest at heart. Because right now, bruh is going through it. And my thing is, you know, I know I don't have my kids with me, and that bothers me every single day. I miss my prince. I miss my princess every single day. I can only imagine having them kept away from you while being charged with child abuse. Like that's definitely something that will take a toll on you. Mm-hmm. And maybe his threshold for being on the edge or over the edge was already low based on some things he'd experienced.
And you made a good point. So we all have a threshold. So we can go only so high before something
pushes us over.
Yeah, or cracks or snaps or whatever word you want to put in right there. So that's a good point. Maybe he got pushed beyond his limit.
Yeah, and I really do believe that that's what's going on right now with Tyrese. What you think, bro? Like,
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, with any man, I can't see them in a position to where they don't want to be around their kids when they can provide. Mm-hmm. I mean, which, and he's in a position which he can provide financially for his kids. But the situation as far as with the child abuse, with the whole child abuse accusations, is taking his child away from him, which he's used to seeing every day.
Right.
He's used to interacting with every day, which he's used to seeing grow. And with anybody that I
was like, "What is happening?"
Like, oh.
This is our song to get into the funk.
I was about to say, hey,
so right now we
into the
fish
fry music. Hey,
now we into the funk now. So we have to kick off with the funk. So, but like you were saying, you keep on going.
And
I want you to finish your point.
And it make me jig though. Hold on, we got to.
Come on, man. Come on, man. But being accused of child abuse,
and and being, probably coming from a broken home, nobody wants to, perpetuate the same thing that they came from. As a man, personally, they don't. If they have an ability to take care of their children and they have the means and the finance to take care of their children, and that's taken away from them, and they are able to provide financially, but I'm not able to interact with my child, I'm not able to see my child. Right. So now, what am I, just a piggy bank? I can't see my child grow. I can't see my child get potty trained. I can't see
nobody wants to be a paycheck daddy,
and that hurts. And
if you want to be a father, you don't want to be a paycheck daddy,
right? And that's hurtful. And it's hurtful. Like even with me, I go a week without seeing, my children, and I'm just like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But
it's difficult for me because my son lives 3.5 hours away,
right?
And my daughter lives in Alabama. So
it's extra hard.
Killing me, bro.
And and I can relate to where, the breakdown can come into play. Right. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing everything that I could do. I did everything right. I made a career. I made her my wife. I did this. We financially sound. We got a house, wife, kids, and then it starts to unfold. And now you start to ask myself, what did I do? And nobody's giving you any answers. Everybody's just giving you ridicule about you asking for answers. Now, in the way that he asked for, hey, it might have been, I can't say.
Take the camera away.
Right. I can't say it's dramatic. I can't say it's overly dramatic. But at the end of the day, as a father who has made his child's mother his wife and provided a household, and then everything gets torn apart, man, that's somebody's
that's a traumatic experience.
That's somebody's foundation getting ripped from up under them. Mm-hmm. And to see a lot of people, just make a mockery of it and make a joke of it when they probably got a baby daddy that live right down the street that won't even come see their kids.
Right.
But you have a father right here who's pleading and who's physically hurt.
Beyond to let his daughter know that he cares.
And physically hurt.
Now I will say what made me raise an eyebrow, like the crying thing didn't bother me. When he first broke down,
because we all cry.
Yeah, that didn't bother me.
Okay.
And people that know me for real know that I'll cry. I will fight you afterwards, but I'll cry. Because the thing is, being black male, you sometimes get hyper masculine. You feel like if you cry, you got to go,
yeah, you got to
beat up a baby seal or a punted puppy or something like that. You got to do something like that. But that didn't bother me. What bothered me was two things about this whole story. What bothered me was two things. Was number one, him remixing "Let's Get It On." That the beginning of that is just something inherently wrong with that. I understood the sentiment. I get it. He's been really trying. I've been really trying. I can't sing. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, bro, that's the wrong song.
That's the wrong song.
You should have did Dance with My Father.
That's what I was about to say with Luther. Dance with My Father.
Do some Luther, bro.
Let's
but
get
then
it.
but the thing, the lie about Will and Jada. Now that is what really kind of.
Do we know that he started the lie? Because when I googled it,
He
it just,
said it.
Oh,
Yeah,
He did come say it.
it came out verbally.
Yeah, it's just creepy. It got creepy.
some people say
but here's the
all
thing.
publicity is good publicity. That's
Yeah,
that's what some people are going to be thinking.
And you
too.
never know what I mean. It might just be, it might just be a show for the courts. I mean, which I can't see what ploy that would be.
I don't know what kind of strategy.
I don't know what strategy
His
that
law-
would
I know
be.
the strategy.
His lawyer needs to be fired.
Desperation.
And to show that, okay, look, I'm an
Desperation.
adamant
Like,
father.
Yeah, I'm gonna do whatever it
It
takes.
takes- okay.
I'm going to sacrifice because I really want to get back to my kid. It
All they
ain't
gonna
it
do
ain't
is
rational to
increase his
us.
child
but-
support.
But at the end of the day,
That sound like increased child support. Oh, so you bought a plane to fly over to school, huh? Okay, you can pay $20,000 more a month. Gotcha.
But my thing, I don't see where, where everybody would think this would be any type of comedic relief, man. Comedy relief. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, yo, because I put myself in that position.
This goes directly into our thing. Black people, a lot of times in our community, we don't necessarily take into account people's mental health and our mental status. We just call them crazy. Or we be like, they just need to go to church.
Right.
Or the devil on them. Or that spirit need to come out of them. And see,
I hear that spirit thing a lot.
I come from a very religious household. My dad's a preacher. My mama's the consummate preacher's wife. I'm probably.
Do they watch this show?
Hell no. my parents are blocked on social media.
My mama do. Hey, mom.
I found they came up in my people. My mama came up in my people. You might know. I immediately blocked her.
You hit the X.
She's been blocked.
Hey, that's terrible, babe.
Why?
Why are you trying?
You're an adult.
I'm saying for real. You trying to block out phases of your childhood.
She can call me.
That sounds like we need to have a sit down with you, sir.
Look, man.
Does that mean you're doing?
Y'all not finna stress me.
Word.
I'm not finna. I never forget. One of my family members apparently told my mama something I said because I was really upset about President Obama, and this is a total tangent. But President Obama gave his fireside chat to the Newtown mothers, but I'm like, so Trayvon mama couldn't get that? Like, I was really upset about that. And I said, I kind of lost some respect for the man and yada, yada, yada. And so I come home the next week, and my mom was like, I heard that you said something about Barack.
Mom about to tear your ass up.
Oh, my mama is 4'11" of pure fury and forearms. Trust me, she was about to knock me smooth the hell out. And so I was like, you know what? All my family members getting blocked. I turned it to Denzel Washington. I was like, I'm putting cases on all you. I'm trying to
shit program. 23-hour
lockdown. 23-hour lockdown, nigga. It turned into a whole problem.
Oh, man.
So no, my parents are definitely blocked on my social media. But the thing is, what I've realized, being around the church for so much of my life, we were always told to pray about it.
Right.
And if you had a problem, it was just, well, go take it to Jesus. Just leave it at Jesus. Well, the thing is about it, and this is my theory. This is my thought process. So y'all follow me now.
Right on.
So first of all, we understand the power of prayer. God gave us the power of prayer, all that stuff.
Yeah, got the
and the
EBT
thing
card
is,
today.
hallelujah.
Thank
You
you
know what? I did send up a prayer for your EBT card, too.
that.
I'm so glad you got that EBT card.
Thanksgiving about to be good, bro.
We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to have a kind of sleepy barbecue soon. So, the thing is, and black people are always skeptical of doctors. Mm-hmm. And we have good reason to be, because we had the Tuskegee experiment. You got Henrietta Lacks.
Right.
We've been used as, various types of guinea pigs for all kinds of
stem
stuff.
cell
But
research.
then we also stay with people that use us every day. But that's
absolutely, that's another story. And so the thing is, we always say take it to God in prayer. Wow. All right. And we say Jesus can heal it all. But think about it. One of Jesus' homeboys was a doctor. Luke, the person that authored Acts, was a doctor. For all intents and purposes, was a doctor. Paul called him the healer in Colossians. So Jesus was not anti-doctor. And the thing is, if we're going to have some sort of, modicum of health, it's not just our body. We always, when we talk about getting healthy, like we said earlier, giving up bacon, doing certain things, watching what the health, then our mental health needs to come into play too. Right. I'm sick in both ways, so don't laugh at me. Now,
we're all dealing with something.
Here's the thing, though. So, and another thing is that, if God gave us, people on this planet to help us out physically, then we should believe that he gave us people on this planet to help us out mentally as well.
Right on.
And the thing is, that mental health professional, that could be their ministry. That's their gift. Right. And so why would you block their blessings and yours at the same time by prohibiting them from doing their ministry and giving their gift to the world?
I'll give you one word.
What's that?
Fear.
Fear. Now, and I will admit that. My buddy, I want to say one more thing, and I'm going to get off the mic for a second. So one of my good friends from back in the day, love him to death, shout out to Darius, he said, the body contains a soul. The body is a well-oiled machine created in the likeness of greatness. It is our duty to put nutrition in it for it to work and run effectively. Mm-hmm. We have been systematically broken from remembering and seeing ourselves as a broken body. And that goes for our mind as well.
Right, because that's the first thing that was broken when it comes down to, contrary to what B.O.B. said, whenever we was transported over here as slaves, we was broken mentally because they took the strongest slaves. And
buck breaking. You
feel what I'm saying? And they broke them down physically in front of us, as a people, so what broke us down mentally. Right. So therefore, you just have to look at it. We just have to understand that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And the church does not have all the answers.
The black church has, and I've said this time and again on multiple fronts. I've said, and I get a lot of flack for it, and it's not a hot take to me. The black church has failed the black community on multiple fronts since the civil rights movement.
On multiple fronts, man.
And in one front, it's failed collectively. Now there are some churches out here that don't, that have not failed us. But the thing is, one front that they have failed us on is the aspect of mental health and taking into account what we have going on. I had a friend tell me that children from Katrina suffered higher rates of PTSD. Word. And you can, that's to be expected. Mm-hmm. But why were there no mental health professionals?
Nobody was implemented.
Well, that's a whole other story as to why people weren't sent out there. But black children suffer trauma and don't talk to anybody.
Well, and I want to challenge you too, because I don't think I don't like to generalize. So I don't think all black churches are failing us, because again,
that's what I said.
Me moving here from LA, the church I was attending there was a counseling ministry, and they were not.
What church was it? Shout them out.
Shout the church out.
Is that
I'll come back to that. Okay. So the church I was attending, you just kind of threw me off. There was a counseling ministry, and it was made up of actual clinicians.
Nice.
My church in New York, the same thing.
Nice.
So
yeah, like I said, not every church is failed.
Let me stop you. You made that comment earlier. You were like, "This is the Bible Belt. This should not be happening." About the other topic we were discussing. Hold on. But so that goes to show that everybody else is more progressive.
Yeah.
Then the Bible, you move down here. The first thing they want everybody to come to church. They want everybody to come to church. They want everybody to contribute to the church, but they have nothing to give back.
To meet the people's needs.
They have nothing to give back.
I will say, like, my mission in life is to really decrease the stigma, and that's a lot of what we're talking about. So some people feel like, hey, if I go to this therapist, that means I have to actually acknowledge what I know to be true, but I'm living in a lie. So a lot of us are living in a lot of false myth lies situations.
I like my damn bubble.
And some people like it.
And so for a lot of people to go to a therapist would mean I have to be honest that this is an area that I am struggling in.
Right.
And I have to humble myself and seek help from other people. I think I want people to look at it in a preventive manner. So if your tooth hurt, you go to the dentist.
Right. You don't wait till you got an abscess.
You don't go to a doula to fix your tooth. You know what I mean? So why
some people
why
just don't
are
get
we
fronts.
going why are we going to a pastor to fix mental health? Like that, it doesn't really add up. But a lot of it has to do with fear. We don't want to either acknowledge it, and then two, like, we gotta be open to feedback. And some of us are not. Some of us don't.
Look at ourselves in that
we
mirror.
don't want to take a look in the mirror and be introspective and say, like, man, these are some things that I really could work on.
And that just shows. It shows a growth of maturity, and it shows that you actually want to get better. That's like if I'm running around here and I got a snotty nose, and you telling me, look, hey, you might have a cold. No, I don't. I can run around here all day with this snotty nose, spreading more germs. But when I get to a point and say, okay, you know what, I may be sick now, I take my ass to the doctor, and I guess what, now I get better. But a lot of people don't even want to realize their sickness.
Right.
They don't want to acknowledge the problem because a lot of times we've been taught that if we just ignore it, it goes away. And this goes back to what the part of the conversation we had earlier. A lot of black people have very strong feelings about sexual predators, rapists, child molesters, but this is a joke that I have with some people. Everybody got that one uncle that you don't ever let the kids be by themselves with, and it's a joke, but it's a very, very real thing for a lot of families.
Or, like I said, because one of my platforms is healthy relationships, just the same way that a molester and a child abuser, somebody who's abusing a child is taking advantage of a person, when you sit and stay in an unhealthy relationship, you're being taken advantage of. The name, the wording is different, but it's the same thing. You're vulnerable. That person is using power and control. A child molester has power and control. The other person is vulnerable. So it's also about how it's our language around things. Like that's the other thing too. What are the words that we're using, and then what are we associating with that? So because we are very hyper masculine, we are very, this is how this gender is supposed to respond, and this is how that gender is supposed to respond. So because we look at things in that way, that also deters people from going to get help.
But let's go back to my point for just a second. A lot of times black families, we say, don't let them go around so and so. Mm-hmm. We don't even acknowledge that person has a pattern of behavior. That's a problem.
Yeah, because we say that's just Uncle Ray Ray.
That's crazy Uncle JoJo. That's Ray Ray with the problem. He don't need to be around such and such. And we ignore these issues. We ignore these problems, thinking that if we just ignore them, they won't exist. Mm-hmm. And that's the same kind of thing about people in general and why they don't go seek help and why they don't go seek therapy. This is cyclical behavior, as we touched on earlier. This is something that we've learned. This is not nature. This is nurture. We're always, people always tell you if you need help, ask for it. Well, except for, when you got this problem or that problem or something like that.
And this is, this is a societally constructed thing. So our community creates our norms. Right. So again, in other places that I've lived, everybody had a therapist. That was the norm. You, as a matter of fact, if you didn't have one, it was kind of like, dang, don't you want to get better? But when I come
with
here,
your crazy
when I come here and I rarely say it, but if I say I'm a therapist, people just kind of look. So it's one or two things happen. Either they want to
think you're trying to fix them.
Yeah, or they're like they avoid me, and then at the very end they're like, "Well, can I get your card from my cousin? You can. You can give my information to your cousin. You know what I mean?" So
I'm asking for a friend.
Nobody wants to be ashamed or embarrassed.
I wouldn't say that. I would just say, you have to look at the progressive communities that you're in. You stated a lot of cities that you've been to, and a lot of those cities have been getting...
Not South Africa.
Okay, we're going to put this one on the back burner. Let's not forget. But, with a lot of countries, with a lot of cities here, they're not as progressive. So you move to Charlotte. So you move to Charlotte, now you have people who are, more...
conservative and black people in the South are, the only difference between black people in the South and white people in the South in terms of their actual politics a lot of times comes down to race, because we're very socially conservative down here in so many different ways. And a lot of that, I'm not going to go back to the respectability aspect of it, but the thing is, I know that we have two different viewpoints. And the reason I want to touch on black folks and mental health is because, first of all, this is a decidedly black podcast, a very black aware podcast, a very happy to be black podcast, unapologetically black podcast. Bingo. But also because our community, I feel like in so many ways, our kids are suffering because we're not getting this help. And it's a family cycle. Our
adults are suffering.
Well,
it ain't just the children.
Hey, you ain't got to tell me. Hell, I'm suffering.
Not just, and you got to remember.
I'm gonna go lay on your couch after this because I need therapy.
The adults we are the role model. We're the walking example for children, and so if we are not getting help, or if we don't know how to emotionally regulate,
acknowledge the help. that we need help.
How can we tell the child this is the thing? My mom used to say, and it used to piss me off, do what I say and not as I do. That doesn't work for children.
You damn sure it don't.
That doesn't work.
I don't know
what I
now.
mean? It does not work.
It worked for me.
It didn't work for me.
It worked for me. I'm just sorry.
My mom be like, do what I said. Why?
Oh,
I had questions.
I'm sorry.
No,
I got whoopings, but I had
See,
questions.
I ain't have no question because whenever she say do as I say and not as I do, I realized, with just from where I was coming from, I realized that she wanted better for me. So therefore,
right.
You know what I mean? So it was just my mind frame.
You
when
was
she said,
smarter than me.
I mean,
Just telling
you know what I mean? I just
was smarter than
realized
me.
that she wanted something better for me. So that was her way of saying, look, don't be like me, be better than me.
Right.
But it was just her way of putting it.
Right. And
You know what I
my
mean?
over intellectualization said, Mama, why don't you want better for yourself?
But hey,
And that was my thing. I'm like, Mama, you're a hypocrite.
Mama done gave
Like that-
everything.
and that was
Look,
my
Mama done
problem.
gave everything into her child. She done invested everything into that child. So therefore, guess what? I done did what I done did, baby. I'd have been out here. I might have been slutting, smutting. I might have been getting pooping and scooping. I might have been doing whatever. But right now, I'm focused on you. I'm focused on you, baby. I want you to be better. So I want you to do as I say, not as I do. Because number one, that's like if you on Google Maps. Mm-hmm. Now you might have been down this road before. Or you might have seen this road or heard of this road before. But that driver or that Uber driver who's driving you, he knows it's a pothole right here. So he going to go ahead and steer you away from that pothole while you riding with him. So the only thing you got to do is just listen to me and ride with it. But a lot of people would rather, well, Mama, you went down that road, I'm going to go down it too. And they'd rather hit the pothole, and that's what Mama don't want you to do.
Some people learn by experience. Some
Hey,
people
visceral
can't
learners, yeah.
some people can't just learn by
I learned by the
telling
mistakes
them.
of others.
That's
You
how
know
I
what?
learn usually.
You can either be I tell people all the time, you can either be a good example or a cautionary tale.
That's it, man.
And I would rather be a good example than a cautionary tale because, well, I'd have been a cautionary tale a time or two. And sadly enough, folks, we are out of time.
Hey, but I appreciate it.
Oh, we out of time. I hate being out of time.
But look, we got tomorrow. We ain't got
So,
to be in the studio. We can get the
Alicia,
people what they want.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys having me.
You so dope.
Hey, look, for real. I mean, go
And
ahead.
fellas,
Go
if
ahead
you're watching, she is not single, so you can. She already mentioned it. You
Yeah.
can try to shoot
So
your
don't
shot
even-
if you
yeah,
want to.
shoot your
You
shot
gonna
if you
get
want
cussed
to.
out.
You might
gonna
get shot.
blocked.
You might get shot shooting.
And she got
Oh,
good
God.
aim too. She gonna wound you on purpose. She gonna hit you in the knee and the elbow.
Wing 'em.
That means your jumper is done, bro.
Yeah. Hey, don't
Done.
Don't
Done
shoot the
so.
shot.
Don't shoot your shot.
boy.
Just
You
go ahead
guys
and
are
man,
crazy.
pass the ball, G. Pass the ball, G.
You better get back to the
But
coach.
go ahead, let's give him a shout out, man, because people need to know. Where you at? And I'm pretty sure,
How if somebody
Yeah.
if somebody watching this or listening to this, wanted to, I guess, talk to you,
Reach out. So
First of all, check out her podcast, Two Elephants in the Room.
Two Elephants in the Room. So you can find our podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and whatever the other podcast options are. But on Instagram, we are Two Elephants in the Room, and on Facebook, I think. Too.
Now, Sean, I hope you're taking notes because we need to be on Stitcher ASAP.
And then if you want to personally reach me, you can shoot me an email at Alicia, ALICIA.Cobb, COBB at
you
Building
gotta say that a little bit
Endurance.
slower. People can't type. Say it a little bit slower, Alicia.
ALICIA.
CIA, oh shit, she the feds. I'm
See?
just playing. ALICIA.COBB at
BuildingEndurance.com.
buildingendurance.com.
That's the name
That's
of
what
my
I'm
practice.
talking about.
That's what's up.
That's what I'm talking about.
And see, I got asthma, so I need to build me. Oh wait, that's a different type of endurance. Never
Same
mind.
thing.
And the thing about it, though, and just your face, your vibe, and your aura, it makes it a little bit more welcoming for a lot of individuals who might say, because they don't see a therapist that looks like us.
Right.
They see that white man on the couch with the glasses and the pen and the pad.
And they're usually older.
Right. So they think they might go in there and get molested. So they tell them all the secrets.
Don't say it.
I'm just saying.
Bro,
I'm just saying.
man, we finna wrap this shit up.
Man,
Y'all have a good day, man. Love y'all. Once again, this is the Kind of Sleepy Podcast. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe to us on iTunes. We'll be on Stitcher ASAP as soon as Nashawn hook us up. And
Is that the producer?
yeah, Nashawn is our executive producer out of New
Hi,
York.
producer.
And we also are on Podomatic. So check us out on
Oh,
Podomatic.
that's cool.
So,
Podomatic. I have to look
So,
that up.
love y'all. Have a good one. And we're done recording for the day. Boom. Peace.
That's dope shit.